Hello, and welcome to Final Show Films. I'm John, or Senstaku, as you might know me on Twitter, the executive producer here, and I just want to thank you for watching. It really means a lot to us that people watch, listen to, and enjoy our shows. If you want to help us keep making these shows as fun and lively as they can be, please join your fellow fans in supporting us at our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms or by subscribing to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/finalshowfilms. It really means a lot to us that the amount of you who do support us continue to do so, especially our $25 plus tier supporters on Patreon. Antitonic, Cat Waterflame, Samantha Bates, Maureen Monty, and Gravity Alexander. Every little bit helps, so thank you to all of our patrons and subs. Check us out on Twitter at Final Show Films and on our website at www.finalshowfilms.com for updates, go-live notifications, and more. We love interacting with you, so feel free to tweet at us or email us at finalshowfilms@gmail.com. That being said, please relax and enjoy. We're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Missing Madam of Miskatonic University. I'm John, and I'm your keeper for the evening, and joining me today is Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I am playing, not Hydra, I started after wrong roll 20. Amelia?
Yes.
Amelia, who does cons artist stuff, probably.
Amelia, who does cons. Just leave it vague. And Mara.
Hi, I'm Mara, and I'm playing Nina Thomas, forensic surgeon and FBI agent.
And when last we left off, our pair of detectiving duos have arrived in Arkham, Massachusetts, looking after the missing Professor Alice Dearlith, who had gone missing earlier in the week after a commotion on the campus grounds. In the course of their investigations, they determined that there have been a number of people that have gone missing in the previous weeks, none of whom had been previously connected until now, and some of them who are only marginally connected to each other. They have determined that in addition to Professor Alice Dearlith, there is also Gerald Baker, a track and field athlete and wealthy socialite, Cassandra Wynn, a archaeology student who recently discovered dinosaur fossils in a test dig along the river where it shouldn't have been, as well as the archaeology professor who is rapidly trying to offload these bones. And Robin Faulkner, a anthropology student who was doing terrible things to their roommate. When last we specifically left off, though, Dr. Thomas had gone to the teaching hospital on campus in order to use their lab equipment in order to determine some facts about these bones. Nina, you step onto the quiet grounds of the teaching hospital. It is after hours, and so the lights are still on as the janitorial staff are working, and it is a hospital, so doctors are still in play, but there are less people there than there would be during the day. Less lights are on, just to save electricity, because we are living in a fairly recently powered city. Arkham didn't get its electrical grid installed until only a few years ago. There was not an electrical grid when you were going to school here. So people are still, cautious about using it too much in case it explodes and the demons get out. Because people had weird ideas about what electricity was in the early days of electricity.
We're playing Call of Cthulhu. The premise of the game is that those ideas are all true.
Anyways, you arrive to greet some of the staff who have been instructed to give you access to a laboratory and the privacy you need. You are ushered up to the third floor of the teaching hospital, where you are given access to one of the lab rooms and their equipment. The door is shut behind you, and the lights are dim inside. You move over to one of the workbenches, where there are all the current tools you might need to do what?
I take the vial out of my breast pocket and start preparing a slide. I'm gonna take a look at this thing, whatever it is.
All right, go ahead and make me a. Let's see, what roll do I want you to make?
Science roll?
I mean, it'll
I have
definitely
a
be a
biology.
science roll. The question is, which kind of science roll? Yeah, let's make it a biology roll.
Okay.
Or a forensics roll, whichever you'd prefer.
Well, I'm better in forensics.
Each roll will get you different information.
Okay. I'm gonna start with biology. I think that's what she's thinking. This
Okay.
doesn't seem particularly related to the disappearance itself. So,
And this is the sample that you took, not the cutting.
what do you mean?
Because you took a couple of different samples. You took
Okay, yep, a surface.
you took a scratching off the surface of the bones, and
Mhm.
you also actually cut a sample off, like took a cutting
Yes.
off the bone.
I'm doing the cutting.
The
You
cutting
take a
first?
core- Yeah.
Okay,
mhm.
so you want to look at the cutting first. Got it.
Yep.
So, looking at the cutting, the thing that you had noticed previously was that there was still some sort of substance inside the bone. It wasn't dry
Yeah.
and like
Desiccated.
Yeah,
it's not
marrow
mineralized.
marrow turns like a weird brownish, I believe, when it gets to like a certain level of
Oxidation?
Oxidation. Yeah, it wasn't
That
that.
definitely happens when you're cooking. I
Yeah.
don't know about paleontology, but cooking.
Well, paleontology, it's not mineralized. It's still bone. It's not stone.
Right, correct.
So,
But
yeah.
this isn't even paleontology. This is actually biology, which is when
Mhm.
the bone gets dried out, marrow turns to a sort of like reddish gunk.
Oh, it does all sorts of things.
Reddish brown gunk. But instead, it was still flowing and liquid. And as you pull it under and look, you see that this bone is not filled with marrow. What you had assumed to be marrow is not actually marrow. Looking in and sort of getting it out, it is a strangely pale, oily substance, which you can determine by looking at it under very close inspection based on how the light reflects off of it and how it is interacting with other liquids that you are introducing into it in your tests. These bones are filled with oil.
That's not. What kind of oil is it?
That will require. You don't have that. You don't have. You don't have a. You don't have. That would require a natural world roll since you don't have a specialization in geology or crude materials.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Would you care to spend your luck? You don't have
That's
enough.
more luck than I have.
I know. I just like to ask because it's funny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're not certain what kind of oil this is. You are certain it does not look like the kinds of oils you get out of like animal fat.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It is definitely an oily substance of some kind, but you are not currently able to identify it.
Strange. I do have pharmacy. Would I be able to tell if this is like any sort of that kind of chemical? Or not?
Sure. Yeah, you can make a pharmacy check.
Okay. I'm reaching here. I'm gonna try it. That I did succeed.
You determined definitively that this is no sort of snake oil or essential oil.
Okay. All right. How do I mark that? Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to mark that I have success on that, and
you click the little triangle.
Do it.
You just click the triangle.
I know, but it's not letting me. Okay, there we go. I just can't click. All right, carry on.
I like that pharmacy essentially said, probably don't apply unknown oils to you and think that they will cure all your ills and or your skin condition.
That's what happens when you make a success, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is strange. I don't think I will be able to determine anything else on that.
Would you like to make a forensics check?
Sure. Let's try it. I'm very good at forensics. Yep.
Because it's interesting how these things overlap, I want you to, with that success, I want you to make another natural world check, but consider your ability to be 20 rather than 10.
Ooh, okay.
You just make the roll and make it with that
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah, still no.
Okay. So, you're not certain what might necessarily have caused this, but you have determined a couple of different things in your analysis of this bone cutting.
Sure.
Through closer inspection and just sort of tooling with the bone, you determine that there is some amount of material still stuck on the bone that makes it a little bit tacky in certain places. Not like it was chewed clean by an animal, by a predator of any kind. Instead, it feels like some of this is a bit of a residue, a bit of an oily or tacky residue. Again, you're not certain what caused this, but it certainly seems like these bones were not buried for a long time. If they were buried at all. There doesn't seem to be any, and again, obviously there was some cleaning done when they brought it to the museum, but this is the sort of material that you would expect would have been contaminated by the dirt that it was buried under if it wasn't just pulled off by simple friction when the bones were removed. Now, without the natural world check, you're not certain what it might be at the moment, but it definitely seems weird, something that might warrant further investigation. You can, with a bone scraping, get the material off the bone itself to have a closer look at it, and you think that potentially there might be more of this in the scraping you took previously.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll switch to that sample then and start looking at it. Yeah, I think Nina would be thinking it might be some sort of pollution or something like that.
Sure.
Maybe this could help pinpoint.
So you can give me
something weird
either
about
a
that
biology or a forensics roll.
All right. I'll start with forensics this time.
Okay.
Yep.
Extreme success. Looking under the enhanced microscope that you have at your availability, you determine that there are two different materials in the scraping. There's the bone, which you can very clearly make out as this sort of powdery scraping that you've made, and then there is a distinctly differently colored bit of material that looks like it might be skin of some kind, based on how it's holding to the bone.
Huh. Let's do a biology roll on that, see if I can identify the skin. Yep.
So first of all, you've determined that the cutting you took was definitely from a tusk. A part of the skeleton that would have protruded from the outside to the inside, which is why you're getting skin and not muscle right here. This skin is sort of grayish and rubbery, and it looks to be some form of whale skin, you would assume, based on the size of the creature. Now, you don't know of any whales that have tusks. You know of whales that have horns, but not tusks. And this definitely seems to be bone of some kind, from some sort of aquatic creature the size of a whale. Another thing you can determine based on these rolls, and especially with the extreme success from your forensics combined with the regular success of your biology roll, the skin was not eaten off, it was sloughed off. Like it just sort of fell off.
Like decayed, or
you can't tell. Oh, you can't tell for certain. Decaying would be the most likely guess.
Yeah.
but it wasn't removed via external pressure, which is why some of it still stuck to it.
Okay. This is very strange.
There are no others other than the marks that you yourself have made. There are no tool marks on this bone.
Mm-hmm.
It's as if you took it right off the creature.
This is way too fresh for whatever. We need to talk to some people who are on that dig. Besides the missing folks. Yeah. And how does this connect to the carvings? That didn't take too long. Would I know if the library is still open?
That actually took you about an hour.
An hour? Okay.
Of just sort of scanning through and making notes and writing down your observations and comparing to historical data. The library is probably closed by now.
It's closed by now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's getting into the evening.
Strange. Very strange.
Make me a listen check.
Okay. Nope.
The wind just sort of brushes against the exterior window of the lab, drawing your attention for just a moment, as, sounds tend to do. It's particularly quiet in the lab at the moment.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I'm going to find anything new here. I had talked to Doc Waldron.
Yes.
I'm gonna go find him. I think I'm done here.
Make a sanity check for me.
Okay. Where is that on the sheet? Ow.
It's your sanity.
Okay. Yep. I just clicked on the whole box.
Yep.
Hey, fail. Nope.
As you turn around to step away from the laboratory equipment, you notice the room is dark. Much darker than it should be, with windows shining light through from the outside. You turn and look. You can see the moon rising in the distance as the last bits of light fade from the horizon. The lights from various buildings throughout the town begin to flicker on as you see the nightlife of Arkham coming to life. Grabs your attention momentarily as you see a figure in the darkness outside. Catches you just out of the periphery of your vision. It looks like somebody watching you. Though that's impossible. They couldn't actually see you from the angle that they're at. They're on the grounds near the bell tower, staring up at the hospital. You're not even certain. You shouldn't be able to see the tower from this side of the building.
No. What? I go over to the window.
As you go over to the window, you blink and shake your head, and as you get there, your hand pressed against the glass, you realize you're on the wrong side of the hospital. You're not certain how you got there. And that figure is gone.
I turn around and look. I'm not in the same lab.
No, you're in the same lab. The doors are in different places. You must have gone to a different lab and not realized it.
Okay. All right. I must have just.
You lose 3 points of sanity.
Okay. 3. How do I change that on here?
You have to hit the edit mode.
Oh, that's right. 62. This is great. This is good.
You look down at your fingers and you see a little bit of that oil from the bone had gotten onto your hands.
Okay, I wipe that off.
Wipe it clean.
Yeah.
You look back once more. That figure's gone from the tower. You must have been imagining it.
Yep. All right.
It's late. You've been working hard and you drove here all the way from Washington. You're probably tired.
Yeah. I think I'm... Yeah, it's late. I'm gonna go back.
You gather up your things, gather up your samples, and begin to head back towards the hotel. Meanwhile, Amelia, you have just stepped into a building smelling of teenage spirits and regular spirits, as a toast to their missing brother has been raised, and people have begun to chug, 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 chug.
Oh, I'm tempted just to sit back and watch this. I'm gonna see if any of them notice me.
Make me a spot hidden roll.
Oh, that's the combat tab. We're not on that. Thankfully.
You shoot the teenagers.
No, I would die.
When you
Also,
kill,
I don't have a gun. I'm a consultant.
when you kill people, they die.
Where the fuck is the spot hidden on? Sorry, I'm clearly really out of it this week.
It's all right.
Nope.
So it doesn't seem like anybody is really paying attention. Probably they just assume it's another one of their friends coming in. This is definitely a co-ed bender. As you look around, there are people of all different genders and seemingly all different levels of the school have been invited out to this frat house for their night of debauchery. And the drinking definitely began prior to the toast that you walked in on. As you can definitely see, there are several people in various states of inebriation based on their ability to hold down their alcohol. The delineation goes as you would expect based on looking at people's various height, weights, and builds. The smaller, leaner people are more of them are passing out or vomiting, whereas the bigger jock types tend to be chugging along with the chug chants. And the people in between are variously, encouraging / discouraging drinking as they go. The leader of the group is very easy to pick out, as he is the one currently hanging from a chandelier. You have no idea how he got up there. With a variety of colored ribbons hanging from his arms, throat, and legs, wearing not but a pair of Y-front underwear, just with a beer bottle casually hanging out of one hand. Sorry, you're not certain if he's conscious, but he's definitely gripping that beer.
All of these things are firmly under not the thing I am investigating. So that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, given she doesn't necessarily see anyone, Amelia is going to wait for someone to realize that the incredibly old lady standing quietly by the door, or just watching this, is sort of out of place.
How long are you willing to wait?
Look, drunk does not necessarily mean everyone is incapable of reason.
That's correct.
She'll wait whatever is an appropriate amount of time because she's sort of an expert on this.
All right. Fortunately, it doesn't take all that long. After but a couple minutes, someone looks over and realizes that there has been an intrusion into their holy festivities. Pardon me, ma'am. As he comes over, the voice puts you as a Californian. This jock individual, rippling with muscles that will in a few years be put to use, sitting behind a desk, likely punching in papers, but at the moment are containing the sea of alcohol that is wafting through the building. Hello, ma'am. I am the vice president of this fraternity. How may I assist you today?
It's lovely to meet you. Amelia, flash the badge. And I just had a few questions.
Certainly. What sort of questions might you be asking?
What's the name of the dude?
Gerald Baker.
I just wanted to know a little bit more about Gerald Baker.
And I'm trying to remember the name of this fraternity because I don't think I wrote it down.
I've got it. Omega Psi Zeta.
Thank you.
Right,
Yep.
we randomized it.
Right. Well, if there's any questions you have, then it is my duty as the vice president of Omega Psi Zeta to answer them to the best of my capacity and ability. Please come join me in the office. And he sort of indicates a room that has like a cardboard panel that has like painted office over it.
Oh, this is so charming. This is adorable.
And he begins walking that way. And
Yeah.
he's actually holding his liquor fairly well based on how he's walking. Like he's walking a straight line. You're not certain.
Oh, he is behaving in the way that is appropriate for the setting.
Yeah, you're not certain if the drunken thing is just his normal personality or if he is actually that drunk but that good at walking a straight line.
Or he's mostly osmosis drunk.
There's also that. You do not know what's in his cup.
Being osmosis drunk sucks. Yeah. I will follow him to his cute little office.
So it opens up, and this office is actually an office as opposed to what you might have been expecting it to be, which is probably some sort of den. There is a fairly well kept wooden desk made of lovely mahogany, which I cannot not say that way. A lovely mahogany desk that fairly well appointed with all manner of pens, paperwork, a couple of different books and ledgers on top of it, all of which have been completely untouched in the festivities, and this room itself seems to have been completely untouched. Again, you're not the little cardboard office sign above it very much undercuts the fact that it is actually an office. You're not sure why. The vice president steps around to the other side of the desk, finishes off whatever drink is in this wooden cup that he is carrying around, sets it down, pulls out the chair. Please take a seat, and then he sits down.
I will.
So, how may I help you in our most righteous of questioning?
Californian. Got it. This is revenge for
I don't know what you're
the
talking.
last.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's fine. It's fine. Well, the thing is, you're not wrong. Well, I was hoping if you could tell me when you last saw him, was he at any parties recently that you know of? I gather he lived here.
There's a moment where you think he's passed out before he jostles slightly. Yes, Gerald did indeed live here with the rest of us. Let me just take a look at our files. The more he talks, you realize that he's patterned this voice after somebody. You're not certain who, but there's definitely an imitation going on
Mm-hmm.
as he pulls a drawer out and then pulls out a really nice tied together folder that looks to be fairly well organized as he puts it
Yeah,
down in
he's
front of him,
Californian.
unties it, flips it open, flips through a couple of pages, reaches for that wooden cup, lifts it, realizes it's empty, puts it back down, while looking through these papers, opens up a second drawer, pulls out a bottle of some kind, opens it with his thumb, pours it into the cup, caps it back, puts it back, closes the drawer, takes a drink. These are professional drinkers, is what I'm saying.
These are professional college drinkers who are going to go on to be on Wall Street.
Exactly. And you see on the desk as he's looking through this paperwork a little placard that says Vice President Dude Abrahamson. You're not certain if Dude is his first name or just the title they call him, but his name is Dude. Right.
Files under definitely trans names.
Right.
Sorry.
So, our righteous brother Gerald was last noted down as doing a recruitment drive over at the, over at a bar on Southside.
Would the name of the bar be there?
The bar is the Spinning Caps. Looks like they do lots of gambling there, which we totally do not partake in as students of the university. And somebody misspelled the word craps when they were writing the sign, and it just sort of stuck.
That was the last. Is it likely Gerald was living here or after that drive, or is that the last time you would have?
That drive would have taken place. That drive was actually the day he went missing, as far as our notes indicate. But he was living here. Yes, totally righteous.
All right. Who else would have been at that drive? And
Well, our
Amelia is taking notes.
Oh yeah. Well, our president, Seth, as it points out at the chandelier. Seth Jones, our president, would have been there as well, along with Gerald. Gerald was head of recruiting. But Seth, whenever there's any sort of activity, the Seth Meister has to be there. You know what I mean? Yeah, all right. Takes another drink.
All right.
But aside from those two, it was mostly just potential recruits.
Was he the sort? Understand that I am only here to make sure people stop going missing. I don't care about the activities and relative legality thereof, aside from potential kidnappings related to this specific thing. That's why I'm a consultant. Was he the sort who lose himself a bit in the atmosphere, or was he generally able to hold himself down pretty well? She does not believe him and just gives him flat old lady admonishment.
The head keeps nodding. Again, you think for a second he might have passed out. Right. Gerald was definitely a broski. He would definitely partake whenever we were having a parties. It was his personal connection that really led to how successful our recruitment drives were. He makes you feel like you're his best buddy and you're one of us. And that is the Omega Psi Zeta way.
I see.
The head continues to bob. You're getting indications that he might just be a living bobblehead doll.
Cool. Amelia finds this all so adorable and hopes that he goes into white-collar crime and does really well there. John, Would that date that he gave me line up with the track morning that he first wasn't there?
Yeah, the very next morning would have been the session that he missed.
And these recruitment drives, you usually all probably split off, or do you head back together?
Well, the people that are there tend to, depending on what our plans are that night, either come back together or split off. If you've got a particularly invested recruit that wants to have a little one-on-one time, if you know what I mean, you might not come back with the rest of your bros. But that night, Gerald had something else that he told Seth Meister they needed to do. Didn't really elaborate, though.
That's fair. Fair. You've quite excellent records.
Thank you. I take pride in them. Drink.
Oh God, there are definitely other questions to be asked here.
That bar is not near the one that we know.
No, so
I don't think so. This one's south.
Yeah, so south side would be the southern end of the city.
Okay.
Whereas
that was
the pickled. So
I
Irishman
assumed south side meant south of the river.
No, the pickled Irishman would be on the northern side of the river.
Mhm.
South side is the southern end of town.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I meant south of the river.
Yeah.
Geographically.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Nina would know. Not that Nina has this information yet, but Nina would know that South Side is what you typically use to reference the area between Miskatonic Avenue and East Washington Street. That whole section is South Side.
All right.
Yeah.
Did Gerald happen to have any rivals? Was there ever trouble a time that he happened to be there?
No, Gerald was the most upstanding broski of the lot. Everyone liked him. That's why he was our recruiter.
Okay, can I do a whatever?
Yeah, make a psychology roll. Make a psychology roll.
I am gonna have to get used to insight being cool on Wednesday. Yeah, I think insight is cool. Technology. Wait, psychology.
Yes.
Oh, I have that in spades. Let's watch me fail badly. Okay.
So you learn two things. One, he's being genuine. Two, he's not drunk.
Yeah.
This is definitively an act. You're not certain why he's acting that way, but this is definitively an act.
It's his con. I'm not going to bother him about it. He's adorable.
The accent is real, though. That unmistakable. Well, is there anything else I can help you with today, Madam Officer?
Oh, I'm not actually an officer. Or I'm just a consultant.
Madam Consultant.
And John, can I think of anything else that I need to ask?
Give me an idea roll.
Or should ask?
Give me an idea roll. Which is just intelligence.
Yep.
Probably see his room.
Would it be possible for me to look at his room?
At this point, his head stops bobbing. Why, certainly, ma'am, it would be if you had a warrant.
I see. Yeah.
And you get the feeling, law school.
He's so cute. Well, thank you very much. We have a number at the hotel or something, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything else you want to let us know about this number, if it might skirt the law, that's completely understandable. You're a grown boy. They ask for Amelia.
Righteous. Would you like to stay on and party with us? So
I
indicating the out.
think I'm all right. I might get scolded by my little watcher.
Very well. Well, if you have any further need of assistance from the fraternity, please feel free to come and see me.
All right. And heading out.
All right. He'll escort you out.
Aaron
to the door.
repeatedly has to remember cell phones are not a thing. Cell phones are not a thing.
Not as we know them, no.
Cell phones are not a thing we have and that are broadly available to basically everyone over the age of 8 or 10.
That too. He escorts you out, and thank you for coming. Hope you have a great day. It's night. He closes the door.
Yeah.
You hear the raucousness of the party continues on as normal.
I don't know if my previous psychology role would apply for this. Do I think it's just like law schoolism and also there's probably drugs in there to not want him to see the room, or like there's something more interesting than this guy had some coke?
Give me another psychology roll.
Okay.
I just want to see if you get a better success. We're looking for a hard success on this one.
Fair. I don't think I have enough luck to bring that down.
So
that was also just intelligence. I don't know if you want to redo it.
Oh, that's the wrong roll.
Yeah.
I definitely clicked the thing. I just didn't check it. No.
Yeah, so you'd have to, if you wanted to bring that down to a hard success, you'd have to take it down to 40?
Yeah, that's a lot of points. I know that much, even if my math is bad.
Yeah, I can't think of the numbers myself either. So there's definitely...
So I did roll a 69.
Yeah, you did get a 69.
Feels like making silly jokes.
Everyone just say, nice. So with a 69...
no, I'm not spending 29.
There is something there other than that he is a law student. You're just not certain. You weren't able to pick it up. The drunk act that he was doing, as much as it is a little silly, is also very effective at making him hard to read. And so
that makes sense.
Whatever it is that he doesn't want you in there for could just be the law is the law and I'm here studying it and I better put this to practice. It could be other things.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, if it is a horrifying crime scene, someone's going to get drunk, break in, and find it. And either be shushed or run out of the building screaming, and then I will know about that.
Make an intelligence check as that thought crosses your mind.
Also, I need to talk to the guy who I feel so bad for because I keep on naming Sam Pepper in my head.
Seth, yes. Seth Jones.
Seth Jones. I'm sorry, Seth Jones. I'm sure you're not Sam Pepper.
So with a hard success, thinking about it, that office was spick and span, even though it was right off the party scene.
Yeah.
It seems that they are actually very good at keeping people out of the areas they don't want people to be in. So if there's a reason they don't want people in Gerald's room other than the law, actually it's not very likely that somebody would just drunkenly stumble into it.
All right. Fair enough.
Based on what you've experienced so far.
Also, they're all
that's fine.
partying.
We have a whole bunch of buff ladies who can get a warrant if they want one.
It's true. There is a department full of buff ladies. Of Matryoshka doll decreasing size.
And I probably wouldn't even need to coerce them because this is someone who is missing.
Yep. So, where are you heading to now?
Where did we agree to meet up?
Back at the rooms. We're gonna do like an
All right.
early morning down into Fishtown, I think. So
Mhm. Yeah.
Make a
Um,
make a sanity roll for me, by the way, while you're moving.
Sure. Where's Santa?
Is at the top of the character sheet ish.
Oh, it's up there. Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
You sort of click the whole box.
Fail.
So as you turn around and prepare yourself for whatever direction you end up going, the the wind just sort of whips past you, and you sort of get this sharp whistling sound of the wind passing by. You shudder for a second as the cold hits you, and just sort of, grabbing your arms and rubbing them for warmth very slightly. You look across the road towards the college, and you shouldn't be able to see the bell tower from here because there are buildings in the way. Because you're one street down from the hotel and also from the quad. You're on you're on West Pickman Street right now, not West College Street. But for some reason, you have a direct line to the bell tower, and there's a person standing next to it, and they shouldn't be able to see you, but they are looking directly at you.
Next to it?
Next to the bell tower.
On the ground level,
On the
or can I
ground,
not tell?
On the grass.
Okay.
You shouldn't be able to tell, but you can. And as you sort of blink and look around, you're not in front of the frat house anymore. You're further down the street to where you would have that clear view. As you wave, you realize that there's nobody there. Maybe there never was.
Never hurts to be polite.
You take 3 points of sanity damage. Or you lose 3 points of sanity.
Alright.
As you realize you must have walked further down the street than you thought before you stopped to think about where you were going.
Where's the changing sanity?
Upper right-hand corner, hit the edit sheet button. You have to switch from edit, which I do appreciate, actually, that you have to switch from edit mode to use mode.
So you
No,
can't
it's
accidentally.
good. It makes you not change things accidentally. Because on the sheet, I definitely would select something and then at some point try and scroll up and down the
and then things would change
sheet and be like, oh, now I have a 90. Sorry, I'll be right back.
Yep. So, actually, that's a really good spot for us to take a break. So we'll be back in just a few seconds or minutes. Watch these commercial messages. We're back. So, Amelia, are you heading back to the hotel?
Heading to wherever I was planning to head.
Yes. So, the two of you reconvene once more in your fairly luxurious penthouse room at the Hotel Miskatonic.
All right. Well, I did some looking through the microscope. Weird stuff on the bones. Some sort of oil.
Okay.
Not really sure what kind of oil it is. I'm not a geologist. Maybe I'll run it by someone else at the university when people are actually in their offices. Yeah, those bones are weird. I'd like to get a closer look at the dig site or talk to people who are actually on the excavation. But other than that, I need some sleep. I'm seeing things.
I think we should put out or ask the sheriff's department to put out a notice that if your roommate or spouse or other person from the university doesn't come home, please file that much more quickly than you otherwise would.
Fair enough. That's a good.
It
It's a good
seems
statement.
like our boy Jared was at a bar on the south side, and then went missing.
You cut out from me for a sec. What did you say at the beginning?
It seems like our boy was at a bar at the south side at a recruitment event, and then went missing.
All right.
I think tomorrow I'm going to try and talk to Seth, who was apparently there with him. Seth Jones.
All right. That's
hopefully grab the full records for all of those students.
sounds like a good plan. That's 2 bars.
I will also say that boy is disconcertingly popular.
Gerald? Yeah.
There are people with the charisma to keep everyone happy. And there are people who everyone feels like are their friend, even if they may or may not be close to him. At some point, that starts to be suspicious. Also, if you could arrange a warrant so we can take a look around his room, see if there's anything that would connect his disappearance more or fully, that would be preferable.
All right. I think I can do that. What I think I need to be there, do we need a statement from Seth? An official statement or
I don't know how warrants work in the 20s. I assume the local sheriff's department print us up one.
So to get a warrant, actually, you would call the home office and they would fax one up. But yeah, if Seth was there the night that one of the people went missing, it'd probably be good to get an official statement from him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that would be good. We can do that after the Wen house. Tomorrow.
Dig site, Wen house. Look around for students. We also need to retrieve those other students' records.
Yes, you had already put in the request for those, though, so...
They should be ready tomorrow, so whenever we're on campus tomorrow, we can pop by.
All right.
Nina, make an idea roll for me. So,
just
sorry,
yeah.
Nina.
No, Nina.
Okay.
We kind of accidentally named our only 2 characters in this game quite similar things, I'm realizing.
It's fine.
Yeah. Idea.
The intelligence. Just need to, yeah.
Yep. Hard success.
For what you're needing to find, it might be easier to go to the dig site before anyone else is there. Like early morning, or you are feeling a little tired, but late night might also be a good time to go see it. just because something's weird about them bones, and you're not certain if the students are going to be able to
Answer.
give you
Yeah.
the answers you're looking for.
Okay.
And if they're there, they're just going to get in the way.
Yeah. Or we could. It was a long drive down here, or up here, wherever we're coming
Up
from
here.
Washington.
Yeah,
up. There we go.
You came from the
I know
south.
geography.
I don't.
Up here. But possibly would it's not that late yet.
It's
Would you be up to
It's about 9 o'clock now.
9 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you be up to
All right.
going?
But in exchange, on the car on the way there, I want you to explain to me not just why this is scientifically interesting, but why this is particularly relevant to our investigation. Or at least explain to me what you found out, and I can try and think of reasons why this might now be connected to our investigation.
Yeah, of course. Well, first off, as I begin gathering supplies, flashlight, etc., this site and the department are connected to two of our missing persons. It also has to do with the river and the carving that we saw on the bell tower, the drawings that were in. Was that Robin's room?
No, it was in Alice's room.
Whose room?
Alice Dearlith, the professor that
Alice?
went missing, in her journal.
Yeah.
That you still
yeah.
haven't translated yet?
They still haven't what?
You still haven't translated it yet? Because her journal was in Spanish.
Yeah. In Alice's journal, I'll pull that out actually and show Amelia that real quick, because I don't think you were there when I was looking in the office.
Right.
So I'll show you that. Do you speak Spanish, by the way?
I didn't put any points in it, but I am a con artist. Meaning I could lie to you about speaking Spanish, but I don't.
Fair enough. I mean, then I'd ask you to translate it right now, so that might not be a good idea.
Very good at bluffing.
Yeah.
But I won't. That would not help anyone.
Yeah. Also, it's just strange, and it just seems connected to sort of the center of things, and I'm to be
Do
honest,
we have
I'm
a
mostly
translator at the
curious.
home office?
Oh, yeah. Like, there's somebody at the home office that could translate it, but it'd take a little bit.
Well, if you're ringing them up to get a warrant anyways, you might ask for a translation, and either her by reading out some of it, or her whatever method do you think is best.
Yeah. Do I know fax machines aren't? No.
There are fax machines.
There are? Okay.
Yeah. They're very rudimentary. They're not like the photocopiers of modern day.
Yes.
But they can get
which are so good and consistently reliable.
Yeah. But you could that's how they're gonna get the warrant to you, just by faxing it up.
Yeah.
But they could also send a translator up to the to translate it for you in person.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know if that feels like sending a bunch of manpower up here that may not be needed.
It would at most be one or two
and
people.
Put it in that person's sort of to-do list. That's probably enough.
Yeah.
What I'm more curious about is, yes, these are a lot of connections. It definitely seems that something is strange about these bones. Academic sabotage, local religious significance that someone is trying to act on. Explain to me what is weird, and we can start working on who might have any related motivation, because I don't think that the bell tower there's graffiti decided to get up and start kidnapping people that cared about a river.
They spiral, and they're fresh.
So do you show the
Something
bones?
Yeah, I'll show, like, the sample. You can see it's, like, liquid, inside. Something I saw those bones. They were putting together some sort of exhibition, or, just preparing them for scholars, whoever they can get to take them. Something that size is too big for the river,
Is it
right? I think that was the
possible there
fact.
are a lot of smaller things that were all buried, swept into the same place?
Single bones that size.
Hmm.
I'm a biologist. This is
So, Mara, you can give me an idea roll really quick if you'd
okay.
like.
Sure. Let's do
Okay.
another one.
So this creature is fresh, meaning
So, Nina, things that jump straight to your mind as an FBI agent.
Mhm.
Fresh bones related to the disappearance of two different people. It
Yep.
could be that this is tied to some sort of illicit cartel that is smuggling things through the city, and they
Mhm.
stumbled on something at the dig site or in relation to these bones that
Yep.
this group didn't want them to know, so they were kidnapped. It could be that there is some sort of, some sort of cult-like activity. FBI deals with cults all the time.
Yep.
Not all the time, but like deals with cults that are worshiping this weird fish thing that could be responsible for the disappearance. There's a couple of different like organizations at play could be involved in this and could be interested in the bones,
Mhm.
particularly because it's connected to the two individuals that went missing, which is more than enough reason, like legally, to need to investigate that dig site.
Yep. Mhm.
all right. What about fraud, sabotage? You said that these bones in their current configuration are spirally, which seems odd. They're too large for the area that they were found in, and they're not
Yes. And
fossils.
that makes me think that it might be some sort of that they don't belong here, that it's something being smuggled in, which, if that's the case, I don't know what that's connected to, if it might be cult activity or a smuggling ring of some sort. I think we could find a lot of potential answers leading to
Amelia, make me an idea roll.
R.
I assume we're in the car by this point because I
Yeah.
did say we could go.
Yep.
Driving along. Yeah.
24.
So,
10. Sorry, I was reading
Nice.
something else.
Extremes.
So there are indeed, you're very familiar with the fact that there are artifact smugglers operating on the East Coast, up and down the East Coast, that either would use dig sites to legitimize their finds if they're fake, like might manufacture a set of bones as a dinosaur fossil and sneak them into a dig site and use that as a way to legitimize the find in order to tempt buyers in order to tempt buyers and just dropping a lot of money on them. So like artifacts, it could be, that's a very real possibility that it could be artifact smugglers. You had the thought previously that maybe some sort of sabotage, like set up a find only to reveal later on that it's fake and to potentially discredit the department of the school. That's
Right.
also a possibility. And either one of those, if somebody stumbled on the operation, they would get disappeared.
Academic sabotage is a possibility. These could have been forged to discredit the university or something. However, the more people that go missing directly in connection with them, the more you've just lost any profit you were going to make off of that.
Yes.
So depends on how important cleaning up is to them, which
Or how
impossible they care about, but it seems unlikely. Alternately, let's see. Well, if these bones were intended as a, I'm not sure why you'd put them in a student dig site for a school that doesn't even have a proper department for it. But if you were trying to forge some bones and collect the money before or anyone figures out that they are completely falsified.
Perhaps this has something to do with the anthropology department. That professor I talked to today has been calling universities all up and down, trying to find someone to take
It's
them.
definitely suspicious.
Yes.
Even if you don't think that the things are connected, to immediately start to try and offload what is apparently your missing colleague's project.
Yes. I thought so. So have I convinced you? Is enough?
Yes, I'm not sure what we'll find at the dig site that might lead us in the direction of someone, but it can't hurt to check. I'm just trying to make sure that you're focused on not just scientific discovery, but the reason we are here, which is missing people.
Yes. Sorry. Being back in old settings, old habits. No, I'm focused.
All right.
So, you drive up to the river and take an off-road, a dirt road up along it towards the dig site that you've been directed to previously. Dig site 13. One of the many test sites that they have laid out for students to use in order to learn how to be better. Sorry, hang on. Work never stop. How to be better archaeologists. Archaeology.
Yep.
Second and okay, there we go. So
I have an important question.
yes,
It's not at all important. Is Bing Crosby still playing on this gosh darn radio?
yes, Bing Crosby is still playing on the radio.
Okay. I'm assuming I cannot change it to any channel that is not Bing Crosby.
You can if you want. It's just the radio that the channel that it's always like sort of defaults to is Bing Crosby playing.
Yes, I would have changed it for this discussion, I feel like.
Yeah, you can change it.
Okay.
There's just like some classical violin music playing now.
Yeah, it's good for case discussions.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit of jazz in there.
That was pointless. Carry on. I was stalling.
That's fine. So,
it's the video game thing. It's like, I wonder if this is interactable. Twist.
Yep.
And it is. You arrive at Dig Site 13. There was once a particularly chaotic rendition of Macbeth held in a park on a rainy summer's day, the results of which appear to have been replicated to near perfection at the dig site before you. Half-buried artifacts, fake replicas likely sturdier than the real thing would be, lie scattered amidst the amateur excavation you find. The side of the hill appears to have been dug out from top to midway, with additional terraces dug out further and further as the archaeologists found more remains. The elaborate forgery has had enough effort put into it to give you the feel of an excavation, though to a trained eye one might notice a few things amiss. For one, a tragic amount of holes dug directly into the wall of the dig where a enthusiastic and overeager student decided they wanted to go straight to the side rather than coming down on top, as well as an overly large section of the ground nearer to the river that having been scalloped out, like a freshly eaten clamshell. Reinforcing structures and wooden planks litter the ground and walls. The site seems oddly silent, even with it being dark. The sounds of nature one might expect to hear are gone, and even the burbling sound of the nearby river appears to have gone quiet.
All right. Well, let's see if we can find anything of our you're missing Robin here, shall we?
Where would you like to start?
Did anyone say specifically like where on the site the bones were found? Was it like by the river, or do we have no
Just
indication of
at the
that?
site was what happened.
At the site? Okay. Um Probably up top going down. That seems like
All right. So you
a
head
good
to
search pattern.
the top of the site. Looking down, it seems make a history check.
Okay. I'm bad at history.
Both of you can make me a history check.
Nope.
History. Oh, it's between first aid and intimidate. Where it would be alphabetically. No.
All right. So neither one of you are particularly familiar with excavations that this might be modeled off of. But you start at the top looking down. So as said previously, it's basically like they started at the top of a hill and then started digging down until they hit something, then carved away, dug down until they hit something, then carved away, dug down until they hit something, and sort of like excavating it out. It looks like the intended like mode of this dig site is a buried town or a buried building of some kind. As you look down, you can see like artifacts that look like walls and pottery and various other shards of things that you might find buried after something like a house got buried and then a hill continued to grow over it. As you continue down the slope, you see again, bits and places where very obviously a student decided, going down is really boring. I'm going to go to this wall. Clink, clink, clink.
Ugh.
And so likely chastised rapidly afterwards.
As we just decide how much can we hurt Mara.
Am I wrong, Mara?
I don't know. I've never been on a terrestrial site. I'm a water person.
You're supposed
Usually student digs are a little more controlled than that, but
you're supposed to, when you're doing excavations, you're supposed to dig down. And this is obviously not a real dig.
Yeah.
This is a one that has been set up as a test, so
even
that
we can tell.
Yeah, you can tell, and so that and it's very clear that the intention of this is so that if they were to take them to a real dig, they wouldn't break real artifacts.
Yeah.
They can make the mistakes here. They can't make the mistakes there. You continue down. There are various tools that have been left out in the rain. It is currently raining again, as it rains a lot in Arkham, as Nina can attest. And you continue down. Nothing looks particularly out of place. I want you both to give me spot hidden rolls.
Okay.
Aside from the things that are listed as obviously out of place.
Yeah. Ugh.
Success.
All right, 1 success, 1 failure. Nina, it's wet. There's mud. There are tools.
It's dark. Yep.
And it's dark. Amelia, looking around, it's wet, it's mud, there are tools. There's also sign of activity. Specifically around that large scalloped section. Like somebody was here a couple of hours ago because the rain hasn't yet washed away the prints.
Aiming flashlight at that section. Well, seems like people have been keeping up the work here.
That's unusual. You'd think they would have stopped.
Wasn't the dig site closed down?
Yes. Is that correct?
Yes.
I can't remember. Okay.
Yeah. There's no
Yes.
like police tape anywhere, but
Yeah.
it's
But I think the sheriff was like, "Oh yeah, we canceled the digs for the foreseeable future because people are missing."
Yeah, it's probably a good idea, Yes, that was. Let's go see who this might be. I will follow where Amelia is indicating.
Heading over to the scalloped section of ground, you realize as you get to the edge of it, this has to be where the bones were. It's this massively carved out bowl in the ground, which is more than large enough for all those bones you saw, Nina, to have not necessarily fit completely in. You imagine some of them were probably sticking out into the river as you look. The sudden downgrade of the hill goes all the way down to the river. But definitely most of those bones could have fit in here very easily.
Yeah, this may have been where it was. I'm probably looking at the prints.
Yeah, you look around. There are definitive boot prints around this hole in the ground.
All right, what can I tell about the boot print? Size, make of shoe,
Let's see. What would be a good roll for that analysis?
forensics?
Yes, it would be. Give me a forensics roll.
Yay! Hard success.
Hard success. So you get down and just start eyeballing these things in your mind. These calculations are going, size, size 13 male shoe, size 10 female shoe, going on around. Very quickly, you determine that the most recent set of prints here are all between size 10 and 15 men's boots. And looking at the tread marks, they all appear to be rubber, like fisherman's boots. Definitely not like work boots. Work boots, but very specifically the kind that are meant to be like on boats or in water.
Huh.
You can tell by the wide tooth marks and sort of the gaps between. Regular work boots have very tightly packed treads. So that you get the most amount of traction with the least amount of adherence. Whereas with these boots, the treads are a little bit wider and a little bit larger to cover more surface area.
And you said they vary in size 10 to 15. Can I tell how many people?
Looks like it's between 5 and 15. The boots are all very similar make, so it's hard to tell distinct individual sets, but there's definitely more than 5, and there's definitely no more than 15.
Huh. There were a lot of people here. At least 5. Maybe more than that.
You can both make me a spot hidden check while you're over here.
Yeah, I'll kind of mutter stuff so Amelia gets that same information.
It's like, kneeling down with a hand towards the dirt, just muttering all the data as it's going through your head.
Just data. Success.
Yeah, you both make a success. In addition to the footprints, you find candle wax. Like somebody had like candles had been melted at specific points around the scallop.
How long has it been raining? It wasn't raining earlier.
It wasn't raining earlier when you were walking back from the hotel, so it has only been raining for probably about half an hour.
All right, maybe they were using it for illumination. Why would they do
Points
that?
in the cult activity category?
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Unless they really don't want to use flashlights.
Looking around, you notice that the bits of wax that you see are in 5 locations around the scallop.
Like a pentacle.
Yeah, like a star.
All right.
With the tip of the star being directly opposite the river.
Yeah, definitely look like cult activity now.
You can both make me sanity checks, by the way.
Okay. Hard success.
Okay. Extreme success.
We're so sane.
John just wants us all to start hallucinating as soon as possible so things can go off the rails.
No. Not in this one. That's for the other one. Yeah. So yeah, you candles in a star. You don't nothing. It's dark and quiet and cold, but other than that, nothing else grabs your attention.
Yeah.
Can I potentially make an appraise roll on these candles?
Sure.
I love it. It's a good idea.
Fail, but
Ah,
So you can tell that these are black tallow candles. First of all, the wax is black. You can't tell how pricey they would be or how necessarily how much of them were burned. It's very minute traces of wax that you're finding, so it's not like,
Right.
and you're assuming it's black wax. It could very well be that what wax was here is just mixed with the mud.
Okay.
It's hard to tell with what little there is.
yeah. No chance to figure out. Definitely store bought, probably homemade.
Yeah, no, there's no way you
Oh.
can tell with what little you have.
Fair.
You'd have to, I mean, if you took it back to a lab and analyzed it, you might be able to figure that out, but as it sits right now.
But I have none of the skills required. I'll
Yeah.
bottle some up in one of the little forensic bags, because why not?
Sure.
But
yes. Let me do all the science.
here, science, do science at it.
I will take that. Yes, I will certainly do science.
I didn't
at
say
it.
that in
I know.
obviously, but
We can maybe
yeah,
analyze
just
this.
hands it over.
Do a little science.
That's what I'm good at. Right.
And Nina, something is pulling you towards the river. There's something in your brain is just like, I need to look at that river.
I'll go look at the river then.
You go down to the river. Make me another sanity check.
Okay. That's a failure.
You step over into the river, and you're only intending to like get right on the edge of it, just sort of look and see if there's anything here. You sort of
Yeah,
directing
like-
the flashlight.
Uh-huh.
You take another couple of steps further, and your foot hits something. You
I
just
look down at it.
There's a rock, but it stands out particularly from the rest of the rocks of the shore.
I'll bend down and pick that up
You pick it up
with a glove.
with a
Might
glove.
be evidence.
You pick it up with a glove.
We
It's
don't really
this-
have the manpower to arrange a stakeout.
No.
This appears to have been sheared off of something. And you sort of look it over, and on one side it is this dark gray, bumpy, almost granite maybe kind of rock. And you flip it over, and the other side of it has been sheared smooth and is this odd orange and yellow gradient. And definitely not the kind of rock you find around here.
Yeah. Well, cults. What's up on this? It's not from here. I want to talk to some geologists. I put that in an evidence bag.
Shunk.
Maybe you're right. Don't have enough people for a stakeout. Unless we can get some of the sheriffs to keep an eye out, a closer eye out here
I
if
need,
they come back.
I need you both to make me a listen check.
Okay. Did I lose any sanity from that, by the
Yeah.
way?
No, you did not.
Okay. Success.
So Amelia, you're a little bit further away from the river, which is why you didn't hear anything. Nina, you hear a sudden break in the steady burbling of the river behind you. Not immediately behind you, just that the river is behind you, but you hear a break in the water somewhere further east of where you're at.
Did you hear that?
My hearing's been going for years now. Looks around.
Something's interrupting the river path.
It's a wide river. Boats?
Yes, but if our little cultists have lingered and are maybe trying to leave,
All right, I will go look.
yeah, I'm gonna head that way. Haste a little bit. It seems important.
I mean, I'll head that way quickly, but keep in mind my move is shit.
Yeah.
My son woke up and has decided that.
Mm-hmm.
Come here, boy. He is very upset. We put him in his own bed.
Oh.
I can do this. That's fine.
If you need to.
Nah, that's fine.
Really, that's totally fine.
That's fine. We're almost there.
Yeah.
You rush off, heading further east down the river,
Yeah.
trying to find where the sound of something breaking the water occurred. And you find yourself at a little bit of a clearing. The dig site was in a bit of a wooded area with only that dirt road path leading up to it, which is how you were able to get out there to your car. Beyond it's just woods and trees. So you eventually get to a clearing next to the river. And you can see very definitively the signs of a boat that had been moored here. But you didn't see the boat go down the river. And you don't see a boat on the river here right now.
Could the boat have gone up the river?
Potentially.
Yes. Where are we in the river now? Where could it have gone?
You are currently east of town. So further, it would have had to have gone west to get back to town. Further east heads out towards the main, one of the more main tributaries, and then eventually connects out to the ocean.
Huh. Well, they wouldn't be going back to town, so either they're circling a long way around, meeting up some friends, or this is bigger than we thought. Not just this city. We're not going to be able to catch them.
No, we didn't bring a police chase boat.
No.
You're a forensics artist. What kind of boat could have been docked here?
Good question.
Give me a forensic
Can
check.
I tell? Okay.
What check?
Forensics.
Cool. I don't have that.
Woo.
Tina does.
Yep.
That's why I asked.
Yep.
So looking at the drag pattern of the boat, it was not a wooden boat.
Okay.
What you have here is a wide and flat drag pattern, which means it was but there's no indication of when you drag a boat across sand or gravel, sand and dirt, the grains and the joining marks will cause tracks, basically. So you'll get little bits of uneven dirt and things from where the boat gets dragged. But when it's perfectly flat, that means there's no joining marks. There's no things, which most of the time means metal. So a metal boat of some description that you would estimate has a flat bottom based on the track marks. So some sort of metal raft.
Okay. Well, that's not going out to sea. Some sort of flat river boat. Aluminum.
How far inland are we?
You are about, depending on which direction you go, you're a couple, almost 100 miles from the ocean.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So it's probably a riverboat.
Yeah.
Well, you now know what kind of boat we might be looking for. If this is definitely a related boat, we could
Yep.
ask if the university happens to keep any boats for their activities. Cross
might.
check.
They might. Yeah.
And probably dig up town records for if this is a boat docking station in a river town.
Mhm.
This is leased land or owned land.
This does not, and for both of you, you can tell there is no structure here for a dock.
Oh.
Like this is this boat was pulled up onto the bank.
Never mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. I clearly didn't describe it well enough.
No, I am also just inserting my own familiarity with lakes and just being like, there isn't that much area. Most of the places you can put a boat, someone has.
All right. Yeah. Well, I think that gives us some clear indication. There's someone didn't want things found here.
As you stand on the side of the river, looking to and fro to see if you could find any sign of the people who were here very recently, that's where we'll end this week's episode. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.